Hello world! Patricia O'Connor and Frida Reba Dorsey here on the San Francisco Bay in Alameda, California. It is Saturday night at the Bonsai balcony, and I have one of our regulars. This is Simply P. Simply P. We're going to do a little candle removal on Simply P tonight. Shouldn't be a really long video, but we are going to do a little candle removal. This tree is one that has taught me so much. This started off as a box tree from Brussels, and it was a gift. And I looked it up when I got it home. They kind of go for a lot of money over at Brussels, but it looked like this was the original. I changed the angle drastically. It was originally like planted with the ground this level, and this was the roots, and they would have gone straight down. There was another part of a trunk that came this way, and this part stuck up. As it came out this way, there was another part that stuck up. But then they both, at the time, would have been like this. Hook 'em horns, or Hail Satan, or both, or... Anyway, so I did a huge about face to this tree. Did a huge chop here, cutting off 2/3 of an L-shaped piece of trunk that had... The whole thing, to me, when I first saw it, it was reminiscent of a sweet potato with a bunch of individual roots hanging off of it. These were all just like one of maybe 20 limbs that were coming off of it. It was just a million choices like that coming off of something that was shaped like this with 10 or 11, 7 or 8 to 10 or 11 branches coming off here, and 10 or 8 long, unsightly, thin, not really doing anything, branches coming off here, all going in different directions and not really showing any plan. It was the kind of tree that you would grow to give somebody so that they could have a bonsai project. And yeah, so at first it started off as a no pressure tree, and it kind of did well because I didn't feel the pressure on this tree that I felt on some of the others. But I feel like I've kind of taken this tree up to another level, and it's really captured my heart. What I hope to happen is for all of these roots here that are now packed underneath this substrate to be going and growing and getting thick and big, filling up the pot here. We're going to let that go. We're going to let this go for most of the year. At some point, when this starts to break down, we're going to start exposing all of these roots, and we're going to let the woodiness. See, that's the thing. When people sometimes have a hard time nailing the sweet spot when it comes to watering pine trees, the roots or wood. A lot of plants, when you think of roots, you're thinking of something that's kind of like maybe a potato, texture, right? Not these guys. The roots are actually wood, and that's why a certain amount of dryness to them is good. They need to be wet enough to sustain and be alive, and to sustain life, be alive, be able to transfer water, be able to make little hairs that come off and become bigger roots, or work their way through the soil, through finer and finer soil, finer and finer roots, all that good stuff, right? But at the end of the day, it's wood. And for the same reason that we want fine roots, at the end of the day, these are wooden roots, and that's kind of why we have to watch how much we water them and how long they stay wet. Going along with that, we can grow these roots and then expose them, and they'll grow bark, and they can be our base. If we have a reverse taper issue here, for instance. I don't think we really had that on this tree. We had a bunch of other issues. That wasn't necessarily one of them. We could fix that by fanning out the roots. And as they're exposed and they get age to them and get bark to them, that will become really what you see when you're seeing the base of the tree and you're thinking that you're looking at the Nabari. You're looking at those fanned out roots. My 17-year from seed was probably a tree this big around with the roots fanned out. And what you see is a tree with a base this wide. So that's wood. You know, that's wood, that's bark, and that's what the eye projects, is that highly desirable, really wide base on a Japanese black pine tree. So that's kind of what I have going here, and I am pretty encouraged by the way this has been going. It's also not so simple anymore. We've kind of, I feel like we've raised the game a little on this guy, and to that end, it's not a no pressure. It's not a no pressure game necessarily the way it used to be. But it comes time to do our candles. I've already done a couple of them. There were several of them that were kind of pre-candles. They were coming out a little early, and I got those guys. But now it's time to go through and get the rest of them. And so this shouldn't take too long. It's not like there's a whole lot of them, but it is candle cutting time for Sweet Pea, now called Simply Pea, now going by the moniker Simply Pea. Pretty happy with that. That's okay. That's okay. If I could reach it more from underneath, I'd be happier. Okay. I'm just gonna keep rotating until I see a good angle of attack on the next. On the next one, I need to clip out of here. Yeah, this tree has come. This tree has come a long way, and I've gotten a lot of confidence watching this guy come along. Has been pretty rewarding. I would say that is an understatement, actually. Saturday night candle cutting at free display. Oh, wait a minute. What are you eating? Don't eat string. Look, here's a dog treat. Don't eat string. Like you give them nice dog treats and they play with the box. I've got a few more here to get rid of, more than a few, but I need to move it in the light where I can see them better, I think. It's not that I can't see them, it's that I don't see the best angle of attack until I'm get right in there, get that guy. And then I hope that wherever you are enjoying, if it's summer, you're enjoying your summer. If it's a holiday, you're enjoying your holiday. Frida and I are kicking it a little bit. I got one more day off tomorrow, which is going to be pretty nice. We're going to spend part of it doing bonsai, do part of it working on our pine tree seedlings some more, and then we are also going to spend a little time taking in the sporting event, the Grand Prix of Austria. Not my favorite Grand Prix, but it is a Grand Prix, and I kind of tend to watch Formula One races whenever they're on, and I'm close to some form of television. I tend to take those in. It's the home race for Team Red Bull. I think I can do some more on this. I don't think well, yeah, I do. Sometimes it's like once you, I didn't cut that one enough. Sometimes it's like once you get in there and start cutting, you see where they all are. One begets five. Where you at? Okay, that is about all I'm going to do here tonight. If I see a couple of more while I'm hanging out between you and me after I do these videos, sometimes 30 minutes later, I'll see one staring at me. So it's not like I mean to do this without you. Honest, I swear I'm thinking of you the whole time. But at the point at which I start taking too long to find them is the part where we're going to call this, when it's Easter egg hunting, we'll stop. And then pretty close to a final incarnation will show up in our eye-catching thumbnail. That's what they tell us to do. An eye-catching thumbnail always grabs them. It's like, well, thank you, YouTube. I would never have thought of such a thing. Anyway, I try to do the thumbnails as a little bit of a here's what our end results were. If anything much happens or anything at all happens, post-production, as it were. Yeah, that needed to be shorter. Yeah, a little Simply P is just coming right along. Now this is going to help with the needle length on this guy, and this will also, everywhere where I've cut these guys off, we should see a cluster of more. And somewhere in there, we will come back and start making decisions. Like say I cut one just then, cut one candle out of there, and then it gets replaced with four. Well, we're going to decide which two. Is it going to be this two? Is it going to be this two, and then we're going to bend them this way? Or there's all kind of different ways to think about that. But what we want to do is save two that are fairly equal in energy. I am looking for candles up in there. I think that was part of our early candles that we cut. They were coming up. They were coming up a little pre-candly, and I did those 3 weeks ago. So that's Goddess. Like and subscribe if you guys haven't already. Our next drop will be tomorrow. We'll go out and play in the sunshine on the balcony doing something. I don't know what. Probably going to be something pretty cool. This is Simply P. This was a box tree, which is to say that it came from the Bonsai store. And in the time that I've had it, it has changed pretty drastically. I'm going to try to do something with all of this by the end of the summer. I hope this to start becoming exposed roots, and then at some point bark. The tree's already starting to bark over some. I think that means it's like a 10-year-old tree when they start making plates. So all of these little limbs that you see here with pom-poms on the end, I have them bent back closer to the base of the tree, and I put a lot of heavy wire in them. I'm hoping for them to fatten off a little. If we get a lot of back budding over here, I might clip them off. But right now, we're just allowing all of that stuff to grow fat. And this is kind of like the closest thing I've ever done to a paint by numbers. In other words, this was a starter bonsai tree in a training pot. This pot is it's over potted. And the idea is that it had so many branches and so many limbs, and like I said, it had a base that was shaped like this, and then it had a trunk here, and it had a trunk here, and it was kind of doing, I'm serious, it was kind of doing one of those with a dozen of these shoots coming off of it, and a dozen coming off of those. So I cut all of that off and then planted it this way. Boom. That's what we're looking at now. Except all of those dozen shoots have been cut back to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 3 doing this, and then 2 down here. So at that point, some point, I might, choose between those 2. But like I said, kind of a paint by numbers tree for me, and it was only because that was the hand I was dealt. It's an okay tree. I wouldn't have picked this tree, but having picked this tree and made the best of it, I'm starting to like what it's becoming. This will be probably the first thing I will do that in the finish line will be a conforming bonsai tree. My other stuff is a little wilder and a little bit more freestyle, I would say. I think my twisty Q's and curls and stuff in my mames that I've been doing lately are kind of like my mark. And this is like a little starter tree that came with a lot of choices, and you just kind of start exercising the obvious choices until you get to something or you don't. And if I make something out of this, it'll probably look like your standard show up at a bonsai exhibition and see a semi-cascade Japanese black pine. Which is good, which is absolutely fine. I couldn't be happier for a free tree, especially. I could not be happier with Simply P, which started off as Sweet Pea, which stood for sweet potato, because I thought it was a homely sight, but I thought it was a cool tree. All right. I hope you enjoy your weekend, if it's your weekend. I hope you enjoy your holiday, if it's your holiday. Whatever it is you're doing, I hope you're having a good time doing it. And I thank you very much. And Frida Reba Darcy appreciates you very much. And thank you so much for watching.